In this lecture, we're going to build the manifest file. The plugin will not generate a manifest file until the project has been built. This is a gotcha that can make developing progressive web apps tricky. Manifest files are cached, which can make development difficult. We can get around this behavior by enabling dev mode from the Vite configuration file. Luckily, we took care of this step in the previous lecture. Let's try viewing our app in the browser. Initially, nothing seems different. However, we can use the developer tools to view the manifest file. Under the application panel, this panel has a section dedicated to progressive web app features. On the sidebar, click on Manifest. If our app did not have a manifest file, this page would be blank. As you can see, a manifest file has been detected from our app. Vite is generating this file in real time. It's not available from our project. The manifest file will have the minimum configuration for registering an app. According to the page, a few errors are being produced. We're going to try our best to eliminate these errors. Unfortunately, not all of them will go away. A progressive web app must be served from a real server, not a development server. There are some errors that won't go away until the app is pushed to production. Let's try viewing the manifest file. At the top of the page, there's a link for viewing this file. Click on it. The developer tools will switch to the Sources panel for viewing this file. At the end of the day, a manifest file is a JSON file, plain and simple. It's great that Vite creates this file while the server is running, but what about for production? We'll need the manifest file for a live server. We can produce the manifest file by running the build command. Switch over to the editor. In the command line, turn the server off. Next, run the following command, npm run build. The build command will optimize our application for production. Unlike the dev command, this command will not watch our files for changes. It builds the project once. That's perfectly fine. We're not interested in watching our files. A new directory in our project will appear called distribution. The files in the directory are the files we'll upload when we deploy the project. Let's look inside. The main focus is to learn about the manifest file. We'll find the manifest.json file. Here's what it looks like. It may be unformatted. I'm going to quickly format this file for readability. Let's go through the properties one by one. The first property is the name. This property is the name of the application, which will be displayed to the user when interacting with your application. The plugin will grab this property from the package file. The second property is the short name property. Some devices have limitations for displaying names. The short name property will be used when room is limited. It's recommended to set this to something short and concise. If we don't provide a value, the name from the package file will be used. Let's move on to the next property. The start URL property is the URL to where the user will be taken when they click on our app on their home screen. We want to redirect them to the root directory of our app. Afterward, we have the display property. We can create the illusion that our app is independent from the browser. If a user opens an app from the home screen, we can remove the address bar from the browser. Our app will still be opened in a browser, but the user won't be able to navigate away to another site. We can set the display property to standalone to hide the browser's toolbar. This value will leave the impression the user has installed an app and not just a shortcut. Up next, we have a property called background color. It's self-explanatory. We can configure what background color we want for our app. Following this property, we have an option called language. As you would suspect, we can configure the language of our app by setting this property to the locale code of our preferred language. In this example, the language will be English. The last property is called scope. The scope can restrict the user to a specific path in our app. If the user navigates outside the scope, the app will convert itself into a normal browser. For this example, let's point the scope to the root directory. Those are all the properties that were configured for us. In the following lecture, we will add more options to the file. For now, let's leave it as is. How do we verify the browser is loading the manifest file? We need to tell the browser to load the manifest file. It will not search for it automatically. We can do that by adding a link tag in the heads section of the document. Let me show you the index.html file that was generated with the production build. Inside it, we'll find a link tag to the manifest file. The rel attribute must be set to manifest to tell the browser what the file will be used for. Great, we've got a manifest file. We'll stop here for now. In the next lecture, we'll look at how we can configure the manifest file.